Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited to share that I just finished painting 50 paintings in 50 days. And I make art pretty frequently, but even for me, doing 50 paintings in 50 days feels like a huge accomplishment. It's more paintings than I've ever done in that short amount of time. And overall, I thought it was a great experience. I learned a lot about my painting. I feel like my paintings improved a lot. And I also learned a lot about myself and my creative process. So I wanted to make this video to give you a sneak peek into my painting process, how I managed to do these 50 paintings, talk a little bit about my experience during the process, and share the exhibition at the end. I hope you enjoy it. So before I could get to painting, I had to prep the panels for painting. And all these paintings, I was doing them for a show at Sanchez Art Center in Pacifica, California. There were about 55 artists who were participating in the show, and we all got these 50 panels to work on. So to prep these panels, we got them without any gesso, so I just was putting a layer of gesso on them so that the paint would stick. And then I later sanded down the layer of gesso so that it would be nice and smooth for the painting. I also I didn't really plan it well, but I ended up moving right at the beginning of the 50 days. So I had to take down my whole old studio, move to a new apartment, and set up the new studio. It was a lot of work, but finally I finished getting everything set up and was able to focus on art. Once I set up my new space, I started looking for inspiration for my paintings. The theme of the paintings would be simply loving what is here. And the idea behind this theme was to capture beautiful moments in my everyday life. So just simple scenes that had a quiet beauty to them and that were meaningful to me in some way. That meant I was finding a lot of inspiration just going about my day, either preparing some food and then I would think of a still life, or looking at the interior of my house and the way the light was reflecting on the floors or the table, walking around my neighborhood and seeing the beautiful shadows on the buildings. Here we're going to the beach and just seeing the beautiful fog and the pelicans flying over the ocean. And you might not think that your everyday life is really beautiful and worthy of painting. You might think that you need a really fancy home or beautiful furniture or things like that to have inspiration around. But through this series of paintings, I just wanted to show that you can find inspiration in simple everyday things, and really we all have access to this level of just beauty and appreciation of the world around us. So I had a lot of ideas for inspiration, and finally it was time to paint. And it ended up being a lot harder than I had expected, because after all, I'm mostly a daily painter. I usually paint or draw something like 5 days a week. So I thought, oh, okay, doing 50 paintings in 50 days, I'll just paint 7 days a week and that won't be a big deal. But what I hadn't factored in was that I would be moving houses, which took a huge amount of time, and also going on a few weekend trips where I wouldn't be able to paint. So my painting time was a lot less than I'd expected. And quickly, after just a couple weeks, I had already fallen behind 14 paintings. And this was really stressful to me. I'm a really goal-oriented person, and usually I meet my deadlines. So falling so far behind, I just started feeling a lot of self-doubt, a lot of uncertainty. And as I fell further and further behind, I really started having issues with my inner critic. And I noticed a lot of just negative thinking, like that I wouldn't be able to finish the paintings in time, that if I did, they would all look really rushed and I wouldn't be able to make any beautiful paintings. And I just started feeling really, really worried and anxious and just a lot of self-doubt. And it got to the point where I was just feeling so worried and so anxious that I wasn't even enjoying the painting process anymore. And at some point, the stress just reached a breaking point, and I was just thinking, this is so ridiculous. I've completely lost the whole point of painting. which for me, I paint to feel creative flow, I paint to express myself, and I paint to feel just intense feelings of joy. So if I was not feeling that, then what was I even painting for? So I sat down and I thought, what can I do to bring the joy back into my painting? And I realized that one way to make me feel a lot less stress would be to take a realistic look at the work I had remaining to do and really schedule out, like make a realistic schedule of how I could complete the paintings in time. So I sat down and completely cleared my schedule so that all my free time would be devoted to painting. And I set the goal to complete 2 paintings a day most days and realized that if I did that, I would be able to finish the challenge in time. And I realized once I'd set these boundaries and the more reasonable schedule, then I was actually able to approach paintings with a lot more feelings of joy and just really get into the painting process. Also, I realized when the inner critic would come up and say all those negative things, I just had to have it take a back seat and say, look, I know you're saying this now, I know you have these concerns, but now it's time for me to get down to work, and I don't have time to be doubting myself. The result was that the last week of painting was extremely productive. I did 12 paintings, and I even ended up doing an extra painting in the series, so I actually did 51 instead of 50, kind of without even realizing it. But the best part is that I just had so much fun. I felt totally confident in my abilities, and I could just enjoy the process of painting. Once all the paintings were complete, then it was time to prep for the show. I added layers of retouch varnish to all the paintings so that they would be nice and protected once they got to the collectors. Let's go set up some art! Here's the setup at the gallery. They had these grids set up for us where we'd attach nails to the wall, and then we could easily just hang all of our pieces with this small hole that they had kind of drilled into the panel at the back. Finally, it was exhibition day, and I was super excited and nervous to head over to the gallery and see all the work. There was a huge variety of work from artists across the Bay Area, and it was so cool to see all of their works together and how each artist had developed their own theme and all of their 50 pieces. When I saw my pieces hanging at the gallery, I just felt a huge sense of pride and a feeling of accomplishment of all of the work that I'd done over the previous 50 days. It was also really exciting to see all the pieces together as this cohesive body of work. Here's a close-up view of all the paintings I did for the show. Hey guys, thanks again for watching. I hope you really enjoyed this video and maybe it gave you a little bit of inspiration for your own creative process. If you liked this video, please let me know in the comments below or subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. See you next time. Bye.